Hello everyone, this is Kirsten here, back with part 5 of the company audition series I've been doing here on my YouTube channel, TwinTalksBallet. And today I'm going to cover probably the most anticipated or highly requested topic. It's certainly one I would have been most interested in as a younger dancer who knew nothing about what company auditions were actually like. They seem like this far off, huge, intimidating thing, and so today I'm just going to give you some practical tips on what to expect before you get there, and then how to rock it and do your very best. So the first thing I just want to get out is, if you have no idea what a company audition is like, it's just like a technique class basically. There are a few differences. Obviously you don't have about 100 something people, or of course there aren't always over 100 people, but sometimes auditions are huge. Your technique classes are usually not that crowded. Also, there are a lot of things that the company staff who are watching just want to get through and they just want to see. So a lot of things might actually be cut out of the class that seem unnecessary, like maybe a frappe combination or an extra petit allegro warm-up combination that you really wish you had before you just bust into some crazy fast petit allegro. A lot of times they don't have time to go throughout a whole thorough class because there are just so many groups of people that they're having to look at. So one thing that you really need to expect is to start out warm. Like, get there early, warm up really well, don't just stretch, but do some bar exercises, do some crunches, planks, anything that's going to get your heart rate up and kind of make you feel like you've already started your class. Because starting a company class cold is a pretty bad idea, since it's not their job to make sure you're nice and warm before they get on to the stuff they really want to see. Maybe in bar they'll do something really quick so they could get to the basics, make sure your footwork is good and tendus and dégagés. There's often no warm-up facing the bar combination. They're just going to get through the basics of a ballet class, and there will probably be some difficult combinations, although I think a huge misconception is that every company audition is going to be super hard and they're going to push you to the max. Yes, they will challenge you, but it's very unlikely that you're going to be doing anything so crazy in a class, because they want to see you more or less in your element. I mean, not comfortable, because they want to test you a little bit, but they're not going to throw stuff at you for the most part that is so crazy you've obviously never done it before, because otherwise they know they wouldn't be seeing you as a dancer that is just performing the task that will be expected of them. It's also important to address cuts in auditions. Now, obviously, I have not been to every company audition out there, disclaimer, so there will be the outlier somewhere where a director might give you a crazy class that's super hard, or cut people right away one by one if you mess up, but really, in my experience, this is not the case. They're not trying to scare the dookie out of you, like sometimes I feel like they are, but for the most part, when they approach the time to do cuts in an audition, which really doesn't actually happen that often, at least in my experience. When cuts have been made, it's like group cuts, and it'll be like after bar, or maybe in the middle of bar, or after one or two combos in the center, just because there are usually so many people that the directors want to kind of clear out the people that they know they don't want to hire, so that they can really focus on who they might want to hire. And this is not something you should take personally. If it does happen to you, it's usually not done in an unprofessional manner at all. So it'll just be like, okay, well, today we're going to say thank you very much to these numbers. Thank you, but I won't be needing you. We need to make cuts. I'm sorry. And you go. It's really not a big deal. I've never been cut, thankfully, but it's not some huge humiliating thing where they're going to single you out and say, okay, thank you, like after you fall out of one pirouette. Like, that's not how it is. So most of the info I want to get out in this video is to help you calm down about it, dispel the fears or doubts you might have in your head, or misconceptions that make it into some huge, crazy, scary thing. It really doesn't have to be. It's like a ballet class. I presume before you get to the level of auditioning for a company, you've done a ton of auditions for summer programs or productions at that point, and you understand how the process works. It's not going to be something you've never experienced before, I mean, to some level. And another thing is, like, when I was imagining company auditions, I had a teacher who just built it up to be this terrifying thing, and I think it made me sabotage myself. I was not confident, I was really nervous, scared, thinking, oh my gosh, well, if they make us do 32 fuertes, I don't know if I could do it on the spot like that. They don't try and do crazy stuff like that. Yes, there will be the occasional challenging thing they'll throw into a combination just to see who will put their all into it and really go for it. They're not necessarily expecting absolute perfection. Now, this depends also on who you are auditioning for. Like, if you are auditioning for the Houston Ballet Company, I think it's also invite only, but if you're auditioning there, yeah, they expect perfection. But most companies, they want to see the intention behind what you're doing, the confidence, just complete lack of fear. Not complete, obviously they know you're a little bit on edge, but if you stand out as a person who is sure of themselves, confident, relaxed and open, like willing to smile, not a cheesy smile like eager beaver or like trying too hard to get on their good side, don't be that person. But just show that you're pleasant to work with, that your world is not going to fall apart if you like kind of stumble out of a pirouette. It's not a big deal. That's another huge tip I have. If you ever mess up, do not stomp off. Do not have an angry look on your face. Don't have a bad attitude about it, because that is an extremely negative thing to show in front of directors. On top of what they're looking for in your dancing and what you look like, they're really looking at your behavior as well throughout the whole class, how you interact with the other people, how you accept what they're saying, how you put effort into what you're doing and genuinely try something that they know might be new to you. It's all your approach and your attitude that is really gonna, I think, set you above the rest, because I mean, if you're auditioning and you've got good technique, the thing to know is that almost everyone there is going to have good technique. They're going to have experience. They're going to, be able to do all the things that is really expected of a professional dancer, or for the most part, the people who are actually being considered for the jobs. But what a lot of those dancers don't have, who have the great technique and everything else, is that openness, that willingness to share their personality, just have a very pleasant persona and one of confidence. That's what's going to set you apart, because I guarantee you, a huge thing I want to get across in this video is when you get there, you're going to notice how scared everyone is, how reserved they are. They're scared of traveling. They're scared of trying something. They're just scared of putting themselves out there too much. And the newsflash is that you're already out there. If this is your one chance to get a job, why would you hold back? Why would you do less than you would in a normal class where you're comfortable? Because they're looking for you to go all the way. They're wanting to see your best. And so even if you have that kind of confidence already, I could say this because I experience this all the time. I have confidence, but there are so many times where I'll be doing a step and I have a voice in my head that's like, nope, you can't do it. Nope, this is embarrassing, already messing up. Whoa, well, the rest of the combination is lost. No, that's not how it is. If you mess up, you can get extra brownie points for them. If you catch their eye because you messed up, catch their eye again, because, well, you might not even have to catch it. Their eyes might be on you, maybe because you stumbled a little bit. But if you take that in a positive direction, if you're able to kind of smooth out that bump that you just created and cover something and look pleasant and not shaken at all, that's a huge bonus. And they're going to see that person and say, okay, that is a professional behavior, because already being in a company and around a huge professional company when I was in the Houston Ballet Academy, I know that that's a huge thing that sets apart professionals from students. It's not that they don't mess up ever. They mess up just like the students do. But the way they cover it makes it look like they didn't. So if you fall out of a pirouette and your weight is going forward, chassé forward into something, the teachers are going to know for the most part that that's not really what you meant to do. But if you show intention, saying, okay, I'm going to make something beautiful out of the mistake I just made, that is really huge. Instead of, well, of course, unless they're like okay, absolutely do this on this count. They're very precise about it. I recommend following their instructions, but you know, you just gotta play with it, read the situation. Just no matter what you do, no matter what the situation is, always make the best out of it, always be pleasant, always go for things rather than being reserved. So earlier I feel like I kind of made it sound like everyone is going to be perfect and amazing. That's definitely not true. I just mean maybe if there are cuts made, that's kind of going to be the crowd that's left at the end, or there will certainly be people of that level in every audition. But at the same time, I do want to make you aware of the fact that at nearly every big cattle call audition, you're going to see people of all types. The ones who are just finishing high school, you know, different age ranges, different skill levels, different looks. It's going to all be there. And so you shouldn't feel like you're going to go and be sticking out like a sore thumb. I mean, obviously, I don't know your life, but for the most part, if you're smart about your technique and doing well, you're going to be just fine. So you will fit in on some level, but also that will hopefully make you comfortable enough to push to stand out. Along the same lines, I want to just make you aware of the fact that yes, there are going to be some super awesome people there that will probably intimidate you. People really have their game face on, they try and look really intense when they're warming up and stuff. There are always the dancers there that are in line talking with another dancer, like name dropping, just trying to make themselves seem like a big deal. If you're one of those people, please stop doing that. It doesn't fool anyone. If you are just the average person going in by yourself, don't be intimidated. Don't let that shake you. Don't make it anyone else's job to determine how well you're going to do in the audition. Just think of it as you, and your only job with everyone else is to be spatially aware of what's going on, and if there's a body next to you or not, just don't run into them. You know, just be spatially aware. Otherwise, it's not your job or your business to worry about anyone else or thinking, oh, I think the director's looking at her and I should worry, he's not looking at me. No, a lot of times they do see you. This is my experience. How I got my job, I literally thought the director had no freaking idea who I was. Then when I went into his office, he did. He saw me and like all the people. So don't cut yourself short. Don't count things out. Don't cut out possibilities for yourself and let that diminish your confidence. And just don't let yourself be intimidated by people. Know that you have the right to be there just as much as they do. And a lot of times people are trying to be all show, but then once they get in the audition, they're all freaked out and they might not do their best. They might not even be that good in the first place. Just because they're dressed in all Lululemon and they got the most perfect French twist does not mean they're going to get the job before they walk in the door. So don't let that fool you. As far as the staff and the people on the artistic side that you might encounter in an audition, they might be super friendly. They might also try and intimidate you a little bit. Some directors sadly do like to shake people up a little bit just to see how they'll respond. Don't let that get to you. Again, I think the main message of this video is just don't let this stuff get to you. Dance the way you dance. Don't let all this stuff get to your head, because a lot of the way you perform is a product of what you allow to get in your head and what you just decide to do. Remember that all your actions are a choice, all your reactions are a choice, so be conscious, okay? And really put forth your best effort to be positive and confident, and just don't let the negativity creep in. Just another practical thing to mention is that most auditions are actually not on point the whole time, although some definitely will be on point from bar to the end. The way you can often tell is, first, if the company is slightly more balancing, they might want it on point the whole time. But also, most of the time I found in my research when I was looking on a website to figure out the specifics of the audition information, they would say, ladies, bring your point shoes. That seems very vague and obscure. It totally is. Sometimes it doesn't mean the whole thing will be on point, but I found usually when they say that, they are kind of alluding to the fact that the whole thing is going to be on point. My tip is just to practice doing an entire class on point during audition season, and well, in the fall as well, just so that you're comfortable. It's never gonna, well, I mean, of course it'll physically hurt sometimes, but it'll never hurt your technique. It'll only make you stronger. And then if you are going up to get your number and register, just ask the person just to confirm, even if you think you know, say, would you like us to have on our point shoes for the entire class, or start the class in point shoes, or whatever. Just ask what they're looking for. They'll give you an answer. And so then if the answer is that you need to be on point, you can go ahead and be prepared, and you know that you've been practicing all year, so it's really nothing that's too unfamiliar for you. And not lastly, but getting close to the end, I will also acknowledge what it's like to audition privately, not just at a cattle call audition, but in a company class setting. I did this once, and it was really cool. I thought it was really a fun learning experience more than anything, to just be with the company. Oftentimes, in my experience at least, the director let me know that they liked my dancing, but it's most helpful for them for you to be in that setting if they allow it, because they want to see if you match the style of the company. A lot of people are technically good enough if they're auditioning in private at the company class. If they've been invited, they're probably good enough to be in the company. However, they just need to see if you are the right height, the right size, the right look and style for them. So that brings me to my last point. Do not take it personally if you're not chosen. Don't let it defeat you or make you feel like you're not good enough. Sure, maybe this is a sign that you've got a lot of things to work on. But for a lot of people, I think it should be encouraging to you, sometimes slightly discouraging, to mention that a lot of things these days, a lot of contracts these days get handed out just because a person was in the right place at the right time, they knew the right people. A lot of getting a job these days is about connections and having the right look that they're seeking out. Like I mentioned about the company class auditions, they're probably looking for someone really specific to fit into a certain role that maybe a shorter dancer left the season before. They're looking to fill that spot. Don't take it personally, because a lot of times the reasons you get a no is kind of out of your control. So just don't let that get to you. Oh, sorry. I want to quickly go back to my previous discussion about the auditions for a company class or in a company class. I just want to give you guys the tip that if you do that, a huge advantage that you need to take part in is the fact that you can network and you can let them get to know you in that more intimate setting where there are probably no other dancers there trying to audition. Everyone else is comfortable, have been there before, so they're looking at you and seeing how do you interact with the people around you. You have the opportunity to really impress them with what kind of an employee you could be. So for me, I knew I wanted to go in there and really present myself well. The second I saw even the administrative staff that I was emailing with just to coordinate the details of me coming, even though they couldn't give me a contract, I went in, I introduced myself, I said, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, blah, blah, blah. You know, just really communicate with them. Don't be afraid. Let them know you're there. Say hello. Thank them for letting you come, and talk to them afterwards. Do a follow-up. Again, that's a huge networking opportunity. So maybe if you end up talking to them, you will really have more of a lasting effect in their brains when they're going through contracts after the dancers sign theirs. They're gonna have to, the director will have to wait until he sees who's signing their contracts to stay on another season, and then they can get back to you. But no matter what, it's really important just to talk to them, be a normal person, be a very pleasant person, and they're gonna remember you for more than just your dancing. Okay, sorry, I feel like I keep doing like a whole popcorn thing with all these subjects, but one tip that I have for you that I'm sure you think of all the time, even when you want to have a good technique class, is to dress the part, look your best. Don't wear anything too flashy, but something unique that might make you stand out. Wear a color that you know really flatters you. Preferably wear a color, not something that is like black or charcoal or something like that, that might blend in with a lot of other people. I find that oftentimes when a dancer is wearing black with pink tights, that's kind of a no-no, because professionals don't really do that in company class. You want to look like one of them. So you want to stand out, and sometimes when you're wearing black, it kind of reads as, I'm a student and I'm not confident to wear a color because I don't want to be noticed, you know? So don't be afraid to wear a color. Preferably one that looks sophisticated. I mean, don't bring out your bright red leotard with a zipper and rhinestones all over it and like some weird cutout stuff in the back. Like, don't go in that direction. Look classy, sophisticated, balletic, not like jazz competition crazy leotards. Preferably solid. I think it looks really nice when a dancer has a solid colored leotard, although that's just preference. This is not a rule. So yes, look your best. Don't wear like a frilly skirt or anything. Sometimes skirts are okay, but sometimes also it kind of looks like you're trying to cover up some more. And I've been in auditions where they actually ask people to take off their skirts. So just be prepared for that to happen. No matter what, just try and look your best, look clean, sophisticated, and confident. So I touched on this in my last video, but in regards to dancing, I feel like it's pretty obvious what you should be doing. At least it is to me. Like, obviously, you just want to do your best, present your best technique, but at the same time, don't make it look like that's all you care about. Be more than just your technique. Show your artistry, show you as a person, be pleasant, really use your upper body, but most of all, use your dynamics and your musicality, precisely how the director or whoever shows it. And if they're not specific, make sure whatever you're doing has a choice behind it that is really either sharp or smooth, that there is an intended quality behind everything you do, because that's really the sign of a professional dancer. They do more than just execute the steps with beauty and extreme precision. They really do it with artistry. And artistry goes way further beyond just your port de bras and your upper body, your épaulement. It's way more than that, than your facial expression. Although that is a big part, another big part is what you're doing with your whole body to be an artist and to choose what you are doing musically, physically, and just with your expression in general. Okay, so very last point, I promise. This is just a fun little tip that really made my experience enjoyable, which I think is very important. You don't want to be going to these auditions like dreading every single last one of them. It really wears on you. So what I decided to do from the get-go is I decided to treat each audition weekend like a mini vacation. Didn't matter if I just had one day in the city. I would go out after the audition and treat myself to something fun and local, like a big meal or something like that with a friend, or maybe even someone I met at the audition. That's another really fun thing. And just really have fun. Treat the experience like one you want to remember for good reasons. So for me, that was doing touristy things if I had time, really seeing the city, feeling like you're actually going there as a destination, not just to go into a studio and be stressed out. So yeah, just have fun, whatever that means for you, just do it and enjoy yourself. So that is it finally for today. I really hope that you got something out of this. I do have one more part coming to this series, so stay tuned for that. Also make sure and check out my new Facebook page that I created for this channel. It's TwinTalksBallet, but all the words are separated on Facebook. It wouldn't let me make one word like it is on my YouTube, so I don't know, whatever. But make sure and give that a like for extra updates, information, and just a better way to communicate with me and the TwinTalksBallet community. Also make sure to subscribe and share this series with your friends who are also interested in auditioning. With that, I will leave you and say thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.